Mom and Dad were always pretty clear that they taught me that the two most important words in the English language were the words thank you, and they're not nearly said enough. And so usually when I'm in situations where I do civil rights work or cases around the country, it's an adversarial relationship or antagonistic relationship. And I just want to start by level setting here and saying thank you to Florida State. Thank you to the community here in Tallahassee. Thank you to Aramark. Thank you to the president of this amazing university. Thank you to the Board of Trustees, the General Counsel. Thank you to the Director of Communications. Thank you to the students for their prayers. This has been a very traumatic time for all involved. And I just wanted to start by simply saying thank you. I also wanted to say thank you to the governor. For some of you all who may know me or may have seen some of my other work, Ron DeSantis and I may not be on the same page on a lot, but the way that he stepped up and his leadership during a time of crisis says a great deal about his leadership. And I don't know if he'll take my thank you, but on behalf of the family, I do want to say thank you to the governor of Florida. And last but not least, thank you to law enforcement. Law enforcement did yeoman's work, and not just arriving at the scene, but everything they've done since then. The reason we're here today is because the Chabba family just wants individuals to know their heartfelt sense of gratitude, but also we're asking for a thorough and transparent investigation. We believe that that's necessary for healing. We also believe that that's necessary so that incidents like this do not happen, not just anywhere else in the state of Florida, but anywhere else in this country. We had a funeral that buried a great man last week, and the only conversations that our family has had with law enforcement were when they were notified of his death. And so we're asking that there be some level of transparency. We're asking that there be thoroughness so we can find out the what, the when, the why, and the how this occurred. We'll take questions at the end of this. I'm going to allow Mr. Bannister to come up and speak, but the only thing I ask of the media today is to not mention the shooter's name. We are not in the business of lifting up people who cause that type of harm and damage to our communities. If there are any names you want to lift up, please lift up those who were murdered that day and those who were injured. Mr. Bannister.
Thank you. My name is Jim Bannister, and I, along with my co-counsel, represent Tiru Chabba and his family. Last week, he was laid to rest. His family, friends, and particularly his working buddies at Aramark all were there and spoke and told stories about Tiru, about his compassion, his diligence at work, and his abiding sense of humor. And underlying that funeral was questions about why and what happened. The Chabba family has realized that there's a mourning period that will really never end. They will never get over missing Tiru. He won't be there to see his children graduate from high school. He won't be there to see them marry, to have his grandchildren, and he won't be there with his loving wife to grow old with her as they had planned. That was appropriate for then, and that was the focus for the funeral, celebrating his life. But now it's time to try to get some answers to the why and the what. The why may be difficult. It may even be impossible. But the what is a different story. The family can and should be given some certainty about exactly what happened on that day. And so they recognize and they want everybody to know, the officials and law enforcement, that they want there to be a thorough investigation, and they want that time to be appropriate so that that can happen. But every day that they don't have basic answers to what happened is difficult for them. It's hard to process the grief appropriately without a real understanding of everything that happened on that particular day. And so while they want to give law enforcement and officials the time that they need, we want there to be a sense of urgency. To the extent that it can be done as rapidly as possible, that's what they would like. And I would like to say thank you too to the media, because they have respected the family's time to grieve and mourn, but now we're moving into a different process here to figure out what happened. Thank you.
Robbie Bell.
Good morning. My name is Robbie Bell. As a Florida State alumni, this hits hard at home. For such a special place to me, to be here under this horrific tragedy is hard to put into words. As a Florida State Seminole, we have a very strong community. It's built on integrity, character, and pride. And as being part of the Florida State family for generations, dating back in my family, family is the most important thing. And we are here for one reason, to put the victims and their families first. Thank you.
We'll take any questions you all have. Yes, ma'am?
What gaps or concerns do you believe exist in the current investigation?
We're not sure, mainly because our family and many of us have been kind of left in the dark in terms of what's happening. I will tell you this, Florida State University, Aramark has stepped up. We're not here to cast any aspersions on the university or their leadership. They were gracious enough to give us this space. They showed up at the funeral, which means a lot to the family. But we are asking, and this happens sometimes either intentionally or unintentionally, anytime you have law enforcement investigating other law enforcement, sometimes things don't necessarily go as they should. And so we want there to be a watchful eye. And we know the governor wants answers. We know that the Florida Department of Law Enforcement wants answers. We just want there to be a little sunlight in the process.